Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HEJ.tax. We're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we have the honor and privilege of having a conversation with the world expert on information sharing agreements, Mark. Mark, would you please introduce yourself to those who don't already know you?
Yeah, so I have been specializing in automatic exchange of information and exchange on demand for 20 years, and I've consulted with the EU Commission and the OECD, and I focus exclusively on automatic exchange of information. I don't do anything else.
Okay, that's great. Which CRS loopholes were closed by the OECD but remain open according to FATCA?
So there were, the first few years of CRS, there were a lot of feedback about loopholes, and some countries were actually supporting those loopholes, like Hong Kong, etc., with their pension plans, etc. So
Mhm.
the CRS came out and they published three sets of OECD CRS frequently asked questions, and they highlighted the new questions, which were the loopholes that were identified, and they closed those loopholes by saying, no, this is reportable, etc. So they also went after residence by investment. As you know, they were quite harsh on that. Uh, and the other type of loopholes were pension plans, broad-based retirement plans, etc., which, like Hong Kong had something called ORSOs, and Hong Kong
Mhm.
said ORSOs are not reportable, and the OECD came down hard on Hong
Mhm.
Kong. But there were too many loopholes. It was like trying to stamp out cockroaches. You close this one and then another one. So the OECD decided, okay, let's go for a new tactic called the mandatory disclosure rules, where developers and promoters pushing these products or developing them, they had to report these new opaque structures and
Mhm.
structures that avoided CRS to the authorities. But that was a completely waste of time because they excluded lawyers because
Mhm.
of confidentiality. And most importantly, they excluded developers and promoters that were in countries that didn't adopt the mandatory disclosure rules. And only 10 countries outside the EU adopted the disclosure rules mandatory. So Switzerland said, we're too busy with the first
Mhm.
set, we're not going to do that. Same with several other countries, Liechtenstein, etc. So most of the major offshore centers didn't adopt mandatory disclosure rules. And they haven't brought out new frequently asked questions, so many of those loopholes stay open. The structure that I focus on, which remains open, is a non-participating custodian institution
Mhm.
holding a underlying investment entity, because the investment entity doesn't report because its
Mhm.
account holder is a financial institution, and we just
Mhm.
explained there's no reporting if your account holder is a financial institution. And the custodian institution is
Mhm.
based in a non-reportable, non-participating
Jurisdiction.
jurisdiction, so they don't
Mhm.
report. The OECD would have to do quite a lot of changes to tackle that loophole.
So that'll be, of course, the UK non-resident trust.
Well, it doesn't have to be a UK resident trust. It can be any entity. The
Mhm.
reason why I like to use a UK non-resident trust is it's easy to locate that custodian institution in a jurisdiction
Mhm.
that's not participating merely by having the trustee in that. But you could use almost any
Mhm.
partnerships and almost
Mhm.
anything to be a custodian institution. A custodian institution is an entity that holds
Mhm.
assets for somebody else on the account of others and
Yeah.
earns more than 20% of its fees as custody fees. So the
Mhm.
fact that I use a non-resident trust could be a Canadian partnership, etc.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, great. Thank you. Mark, thank you very much for sharing your time, your expertise. If someone wanted to reach out to you directly to find out more, what's the best way to find you and contact you?
You can just find my website, which is co-ownershiptrust.com. That's with a dash. Uh,
Mhm.
or a or a Google search of my name and trust, and you should find me very quickly. And then WhatsApp me.